Tom Holmoe, because of his NCAA tournament selection committee responsibilities and conference tournaments and whatnot, with how much traveling he does, he's a very busy man. And I think you ran here to get to this interview, right?
Well, as much as this old man can run, if you call that running.
You could probably run a faster 40 than I could.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I bet that happened right now. And you don't even have an ACL in one knee or something, right?
I used to have one, but it seemed to go away at some point in my career.
Yeah. Last week there was this discussion about maybe, because last year I had a shaved head, as you recall, maybe Spencer shaving it. You had a message for me after the volleyball match. I don't know if you wanted to tell Spencer.
Don't do it.
I'm not going to shave my head. I'm not shaving my head. My mom would never forgive me.
the viewership would be affected. Yeah.
My dad was a barber all my years growing up, and until I was about 12, I had that haircut. It was just easy just to cut it all off.
It's cheap,
so
baby.
I had to live with it, so I'm saying don't do it.
Some people don't have a choice, so you have a choice. Don't.
Hey, what a day for BYU athletics in general yesterday when you look at what baseball and softball did, and volleyball's got this crazy streak going with sets. Like, even though it's about basketball and football is in the middle of spring football, like, this is a good time for BYU athletics.
There's a lot of things going on right now, not to mention tennis, golf, swimming, track and field, softball. There's so many things going on right now. And this is the time of the year where you can't really keep track of it, and someone does something great. Like, we had 2 guys yesterday that qualified for the Olympic trials, and that's hard to make the cut on all the information. It's a fantastic achievement, so it's good. We got some great kids.
Tom, when the dust settled on the 2016 football schedule, which we knew the opponents from Football Media Day and Boise State's date changed, but what do you think of the schedule that you and your crew put together?
It's hard. I said last year, I thought last year was a hard schedule. We put that together for Taysom and Jamal being seniors, and then we don't really have either one of those guys. The team came back last year without those 2 guys and did a great job, competed fiercely, and this schedule's tough. I feel like this team is probably personnel-wise better maybe than last year, maybe just because of there's more depth. We have a few more people coming back from missions and a couple freshmen that'll help. So as tough as the schedule will be, I think we'll be very competitive.
What has your message to the new football staff been when you say, oh, by the way, you got to play Arizona and Michigan State and Mississippi State and Boise State? What is that conversation like?
Well, it's interesting. When I was interviewing Kalani and when the staff came on, they realized what they're signing up for, and they knew it. And I think you want to hire a coach that's eager for something like that. It's what we are doing right now, being an independent, and those games and those teams that we're going to play will be important for us to have future success. These guys are up for it. I haven't even seen one spring ball. I won't be able to see a spring ball. I'll be gone the whole time. I might be able to sneak something in, but I hear a lot, and I always call every night and get the report how things are. Everybody healthy? Did anybody get hurt? That's the first question, because we're going to need everybody next year.
On a Thursday road game that's obviously going to be on ESPN, like UCF in 2014, Boise State, is that a situation where you always want to do it because it's on ESPN, even though situationally and with the preparation a little harder?
Yeah, it's very definitely difficult. I talked to Kalani about that one. That was something that happened under his time. And it's amazing how he just jumped on it and said, you know what, our guys, we want to be on TV. These guys are going to want to play on TV. That's a great stage. We have a great tradition with Boise State, a great, I shouldn't say a great tradition, a great rivalry that's relatively new. And we're going to keep playing. We're going to play for a while. But that seems to be a game that ESPN's always going to want. And so we do have in the contract with ESPN that we do have to play, if they'd like to, 2 games a year. On non-weekends. So if it's going to be then, that's the case. We play I believe we play the Friday before that.
Mississippi
so we
State,
actually
right?
gain. I don't know if you gain, but it's not Saturday.
There's one more day than there would be.
One more day
there are at least 6 days between.
Yeah. And it's not like it's not a huge travel. It is getting on a plane, but that travel shouldn't be too bad. But all those things come into consideration, and it just wasn't worth saying no to have a game on TV like that.
Sure.
BYU Athletic Director Tom Holmoe with us from the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. We are at the West Coast Conference Tournament talking about BYU football right now. Recently, Taysom Hill announced that he was coming back, and you just referenced that Jamal Williams and Taysom are going to be part of the 2016 schedule when you set up the 2015 schedule for them. So how do you feel about those 2 guys being in the backfield per se, now facing this schedule?
I just have always loved veteran leadership, and they were going to be the seniors last year, and we missed them both. There's just something about those two guys that you would know that it's just being part of the program for so many years. They know the ins and outs. They've had failures. They've had successes. They know how to. Whatever the thing is. And we seem to be playing more and more younger guys because they're better. I think we're kind of plugging into a real good recruiting format, and we're going to recruit guys that are going to play younger. And when you play at any level tonight, you're going to see, or over this tournament, you're going to see a lot of freshmen playing on the girls' side and the boys' side. And it helps if you have freshmen on the field to have some senior leadership. So I always feel good about that. I
agreed with that sentiment. I said, in my opinion, the key to the whole men's basketball tournament was the play of Nick Emery. He's kind of been a Y factor for BYU. Do you need some more blue goggles to take with you? Because last year, with the committee, you took a picture with those blue goggles.
Which was awesome.
That's probably the moment of the year for the show.
Well, you know that the selection week this year is not in Indy. It's in New York City. So I could put those on and take a few pictures out with the
you could walk out
people
and fit
on Times Square. Yeah, that's a good point.
By what is it, the naked cowboy at Times Square?
Oh, I'm not sure about that guy.
Yeah, probably avoid that guy. Do you feel like right now, in your experience now as a selection committee member, that the situation that BYU's in, where they have a top 50 win against St. Mary's, they've been pretty good against the RPI top 100, but they have those 3 RPI 200 plus losses. Do you feel like they're in a situation where you probably have to win this tournament to get in?
Definitely have to win the situation. Yeah. It's not that it's. You could say that. I think optimistically we'd like to say, well, if we played a great game and lost in the semis, I just don't think that does it because it's just another loss. It's a great team that you've seen. I think at times we look great, and at times we haven't. So it comes down to, this is March Madness. For BYU, sometimes it happens that way, where we got to win it. It happens that way for a lot of teams and a lot of conferences that have that. It's going to be interesting to see this conference, what happens. I'm not so sure. And this isn't something as an insider.
Sure.
But I think if you look around, some people have Gonzaga, St. Mary's in if they lose, and some people don't. So the only one that matters, the only vote that matters is the last one on Selection Sunday when those 10 selectors, if they get in or not. And a lot will depend on how they play in this tournament.
Mm. Everyone seems to be a bracketologist. We would like to think that we have an idea of what you're one of the 10, right? So what weighs more when evaluating a team? Because we've talked a lot about top 50 wins and RPI 200 plus and the way you end the season and road. And I mean, how do you determine what criteria matter? It's just the 10 of you get in a room and then it shapes itself?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, I really wouldn't consider myself a bracketologist. I mean, I look at it, but I think if you look at someone like Joe Lenardi, and he's looking at the bracket. We actually, as a selection committee, do not put the games together. You just put them in a list, 1 through 68.
What do you mean the games together?
Well, I'll explain that. What happens is once you get them through 68, and they're seeded 1, 2, 3, 4 first seeds, 4, 5, 6. 5, 6, 7, 8 second seeds. Then what happens is there's this incredible software program that this wizard staff member at the NCAA has created, where the number 1 seed in the country goes to the closest location regional. That's it. They get it. They've earned it. The number 2 seed, then it's all automated up on this computer screen, goes to the next closest seed regional. And so on and so forth. But there's these built-in little, I don't know what they call them, but flashers. You can't play somebody that you just played. You can't have a rematch. They look at all these things, and it pops it up, and then you move them over. So basically, by the end of it, they just sort them, and you don't know who's playing. Like last year, it came up when we're watching it happen. It's Kansas versus Wichita State. and everybody went crazy. Like, that selection committee put that game together. You don't put the games together. It's just seeded, and then they go based on location.
So that's
news. All it is.
You seed it, and then it's news to you. You kind of watch it and go, okay, yeah, we did that kind of.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this right now. You'd have to be extraordinarily brilliant as while you're seeding down there. Plus, there's 10 people voting.
So many opinions.
So you can't go, oh, here up at number 13 is going to end up playing. Can't do it. It doesn't happen that way. And so when that bracket comes out, we look at it and go, oh my goodness, there's a grade. There's like that was Kansas, Wichita State last year, and everybody in that state said, they did it on purpose. Didn't happen that way.
We didn't do it on purpose. That's great insight, because that's something that Jeremy and I and a lot of people across the country really wouldn't know that goes into that selection process.
And see, that's why, like with Joe Lenardi, he's actually bracketing the tournament. He's putting people in those things, and nobody can do. You can't do that. You can put the top 4 seeds in. You could do that. I mean, if you guessed right, selecting 1, 2, 3, 4, that number 1's going to go to this city, 2 to this city. You can do that. But after you get past the
good luck.
second seed, you're done.
Okay, well, we have compiled some more BYU Sports Nation swag for you to take to New York City. So
let me check. Are there blue goggles in here, Ben? I hope they're
sure
there are. Okay,
there's some blue goggles. Just in case you need an extra pair, we've got you taken care of.
So this is the brand, the blue goggles, forever and ever, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we'll see in like 4 years.
Now, I also have Denver first round, second round. Then I go to Anaheim, and then Houston. So
you need some clothes for those places.
I think I need 4.
We got a whole box. 4? We'll get you 3 more.
Okay.
We'll get you 18, whatever you need.
Tom, great to talk to you. Thanks for the time.
Good to see you. Good luck.